We're back with Chris Stewart, author of 7 Tipping Points That Saved the World. It is, I think, the best written history book. You know what, I shouldn't say that because you are going to get so much crap from everybody. It's horrible. If you're a pointy little egg-headed freak at a university, well, I'm a history professor and I've written all these books that nobody has read. Yeah. There's a reason for that. Really, really well written. You learn history through the weaving of a great, great story. 7 tipping points for freedom. And when we went into the break, what I set up was which one is right? Progressives who believe that men learn and get better and we progress, or I think what is common sense, man never learns a damn thing as a group. We keep repeating the same mistakes, and you've got to shackle men as much as you can in positions of power because the bad guys will always grow, which is right.
You know, history seems to indicate that we're not very good at policing ourselves, that men come to power, and once they have power, as we've talked about so many times here, that tyranny rules. And that's why, you know, this thing, this democracy, this republic, the United States, that is a recent phenomenon when compared with the history of the world. That's why this is such a miracle. That's why this is so astounding, because for the first time we broke that mold.
Jim, your question. It's on this.
This started with your 40-day and 40-night challenge. I started reading the Bible on a regular basis, and out of that I drew questions. In the book of Psalms, we're taught that you can't put your faith in man to rule. He becomes corrupt. And in Daniel, it tells you that eventually God will destroy all the kingdoms on earth and establish his own kingdom and government. Yeah. So can we as man rule ourselves, or do you believe in the American exceptionalism if it says in the Bible that we can't?
No. Man can rule himself. Men? No, not so much. That's what the founders knew. The founders knew that man, I put my faith. Somebody said to me, I had lunch with somebody today, and they said, Glenn, you're so pessimistic on the American people. And I said, what makes you think that? I believe in the American people every time. I'll put my faith in you and the business down the street. I'll put my faith in them every time. Huge, giant global corporations or giant global governments? No, not so much. No, I won't. Because they want to rule over. I want to rule myself. You rule yourself. That's the difference. Is can we create a system that gives you the maximum power to rule yourself and the maximum limitation on someone who wants to rule over you? Because only God can set up a kingdom that is truly just. You know, I love this stuff about social justice, this garbage about social justice. There's no such thing. There can be equal justice. We can strive for equal justice here, but there's only one great power that will even everything out. Maura, your question.
I think that we really are at a tipping point with what's happening with Israel. And I don't think our current administration, respects what the will of the people is. So I'm wondering, how do we stop them from betraying our friends in Israel? How do we let them know that we do stand with them?
I personally have an answer. I want you to kind of go to the defeat of the Assyrians here in a second. My answer is, again, man must rule himself. You have to make the personal choice to stand and be seen standing and let people in Israel know. If there's enough people that stand up as individuals, our governments will fail us every time. They always have. So why are we waiting for them? Why are we looking at them and saying, well, we should change their mind, we should change their course? Forget about them. Stand up. Because in the end, you're not going to have the excuse, well, the government did it. Well, I was just obeying orders. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the individual that makes the difference. You tell about, because this gives me real hope. Listen to the end of this story of the Assyrians being defeated.
Okay, and could I make a comment
Yeah.
on the previous question? I'd like to tie two things that were said there. One of them is the idea of American exceptionalism, and the other is, will we stand with Israel? I absolutely believe in this idea of American exceptionalism, and I'd like to point out that we are not the only people who feel that way. A few years ago, I was in Morocco, had an opportunity to go to one of the most poverty-ridden, anti-American, anti-Western neighborhoods maybe in the world, and felt fairly uncomfortable there. And as I'm walking down this little alley, and these alcoves built into the side of the hill where there'd be little shop owners, and there's a little man standing there guarding his money box, and behind him is a poster written in English, which catches my eye, and it's the Gettysburg Address. And I read that and I'm astounded. What is that here? And he and I look at each other and he kind of smiles to me. And I realize that, yeah, we believe in American exceptionalism. We believe that we have a special role in the world, but there are tens of millions of people around the world who believe the same thing. They hope the same thing. They want that to be true because they know that their best hope of living under any sort of democracy or freedom or greater economic freedom will come because of our efforts. And I think by extension that applies to our stand with Israel as well.
Hang on just a second. With our understanding and living the true principles behind the Gettysburg Address, and again, I believe the individuals doing it, not because we're responsible for a lot of oppression too. I'm sorry, but I don't believe in ghost planes. I don't believe in picking people up and saying, hey, we're going to drop you off in Egypt unless you talk to us now. No. If we're going to torture somebody, we torture them.
Yeah.
Be the monster. Don't allow someone else to be the monster. And if you don't want to be the monster, don't allow anybody else to be it either.
Well, and that's a fair point, and I wouldn't argue with that. But my, the point I was trying to make there is that there are people in that area who want us to make that stand. They recognize that we bring stability, that we bring a potential for them bettering their lives by us being willing
There's
to
the
do
same
that.
reason there's a lot of Palestinians that stand with Israel. There's the Palestinian situation in Jerusalem works.
Yeah.
It works.
Yep. And they don't want that thing taken away.
Right.
They don't want that thing destroyed either.
All right, so let me go back to your answer on Israel here, and where I found great hope with the defeat of the Assyrians. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back.